'cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute.
Bonjour and welcome to Flower and Party, your new podcast full of good vibes, of sparkles, of flowers, bright preferably, around the theme of weddings, but not only. Birth anniversaries, baptisms, I'm really fond of all the family celebration. And this is the reason why I wanted to share with you all my advices, my tips, all about my experience and my discoveries around this theme. Will you come with me?
Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride.
Bonjour and welcome to this new episode. I'm really glad that you're here again. And today we're going to talk about a topic that is really in line with the previous one. If you haven't seen the video, please just go to my channel and you'll find it. It's the number 2. It's about choosing the perfect season for you. Because yes, usually we do have a fairly clear idea of our wedding well before the proposal. We can imagine the dress, the decor, the people we want to be there and their emotions. And most of the time, what we have in mind is a perfect, clear, sunny day, not too hot, not too cold, not too windy, not too wet. The perfect spring day, that is just like perfect. Yes, that's the right word. However, this ideal day is far from being a given. And even in the middle of the summer, you're not guaranteed to have this type of day. And this is one of the reasons why I do believe that the high season is not necessarily the only choice. Because yes, spring and summer weddings win the majority of votes for sure. But autumn and winter weddings can also be crazy original and have a really unique and aesthetic character. So, as I always do have extremely pertinent things to say, including therefore about the weather and the seasons, here are the pros and cons of what season to choose for your wedding. So let's start with the wedding in the middle of spring. For the pros, of course, it's expected that in spring you can count on a good weather above all. Not too hot, sunny enough to get a nice fine art or airy photo, the ideal for an outdoor reception, and also the peak season for flowers. And as a flower lover, as you know I am, these little beauties are paramount in the decision. It's also the beginning of the season, so both venues and guests are more likely to be available on your dates. As for the cons, even if the odds are in your favor, the weather remains unstable until late in the season. So my recommendation would be to secure a really fairly good backup solution in case of cold or bad weather. Let's move on to the summer weddings. It's the height of the season and we can understand why. Sun, warmth are almost guaranteed. And most people are on vacation also, or at least most of your guests might be able to go away for a long weekend easily. It's also one of the best conditions to take both moody and airy photos and to be able to stay out with a lot of light late in the day. It's the perfect fit for a garden party and your guest might be tempted to stay long in the night with such good conditions. We understand why summer is one of the peak seasons for wedding, however, the cons are quite a few. First of all, prices are skyrocketing and availability is harder to come by. So plan ahead if summer is a must for you. Be careful with the makeup too. Although I wouldn't necessarily judge a makeup artist to be a must for every wedding, it can help you avoid makeup that fades away as the day goes on. Of course, it's also necessary to foresee the risk of a heat wave. You know what I mean? Of course, your own comfort and the groom's as well is at stake, but the one of your guests as well. Therefore, it may also be necessary to provide shelter and hydration for the more fragile. As for you, you will be probably standing a lot, and in this case, the alternative pair of shoes may be necessary. Well, unless, like me, you end up barefoot on the dance floor, but this is another story. Let's move to the wedding in autumn. It's clearly an option that I think is underexploited. For several years now, we have almost had magnificent Indian summer. The days can be really sunny, not too hot, really warm, just fine. The light is crazy and the colors are just very, very popular with photographers. So you can enjoy the bohemian, chic, gypsy, fearless atmosphere in beige, red and orange tones. At the beginning of the autumn, you'll also still be beautiful and tanned from the summer and rested from the holidays. And as for the floral options, they are endless. And actually, it's the perfect time to opt for dried or preserved flowers, which are particularly suited for this type of atmosphere. Moreover, as the season is coming to an end, prices are starting to drop and the availability of venues and service providers is becoming reasonable again. It's the time to bring out the candles, the good wines, the more gourmet dishes and to exploit the thousands of possibilities offered by this seasonal theme. Softness, roundness, in short, you've understood. I'm over-validating this season. On the side of the cons, obviously autumns mean the possibility of rain, that's for sure. Of course, this can easily be turned into an opportunity to play with your guests, but I'll tell you more about that real soon. It's also a very busy period in the sense that kids are going back to school. It's a really loaded period for work, so availabilities might be less easy for your guests. Or at least you'll need to anticipate as much as possible to allow them to get organized. And let's end with the weddings in the winter. If you want to cheer up your guests, now is the time. I mean, who would say no to spending a weekend celebrating happiness and love during the most depressing time of the year? Yes, you got it. I don't like winter that much. Not after Christmas, at least. Winter weddings can be amazingly friendly and magical. The moody or pristine white atmosphere, depending on whether you're going on the countryside or to the snow, will allow you to easily play on an esotericism for your atmosphere. The closed and warm places versus the cold outside will facilitate the setting up of a cocooning atmosphere, and you'll also be able to really play on the roundness of the dishes and the drinks. Dress code games for the guests can also be quite funny and will guarantee you some really original photos. As for the flowers, you can also use and abuse foliage, dry and preserved flowers. For instance, you can opt for a really whitey, silvery mood for your decoration with the softness of cotton flowers or of laguerus, or on the contrary, you can opt for gold and red-orange colors that will enhance warmth of the interior. You can also use candles, garlands to brighten up your decor. And to finish, as this is one of the less busy periods in the year for weddings, you'll have a very positive effect on both prices and availability. On the sides of the cons, of course, the cold weather outside means that most of the events will be indoors, especially for elderly and children. Your outfit will need to be enhanced with more accessories for the eventual transfer between the town hall and the reception venue, for instance. As for fresh flowers, they will be more difficult to find. However, as I said, dried and preserved flowers are perfect for that. Finally, you will have to deal with everyone's availability if you choose the Christmas holidays, and everyone's obviously has a lighter wallet in January. Of course, this is only my perspective to help you choose the optimal season for your wedding. It's actually a somewhat standard comparison of things. But of course, apart from that and those rational criteria, don't forget that this wedding is about you and Charmy, about your history, and it represents you both. This is the opportunity to choose a date that has a meaning for you. First date, first kiss, first I love you. Ask yourselves what would have the most meaning for you. And just keep in mind that it's the perfect weapon to prevent your future husband or wife from forgetting your anniversary in 10 years from now. Trust me, that counts. In any case, this would be one more thing to share about yourselves with your loved ones. A little something that will give your event even more flavor. And I'm sure they'll appreciate it. So now that I'm done developing this very passionate theory, please tell me, what season will you choose for your own wedding? I can't wait to hear from you. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If it's the case, please leave a comment, like it, subscribe to the channel to be informed of the new episodes coming out twice a week. Don't forget to share it with people who would be interested. And I'll see you in a couple of days. In the meantime, don't forget, enjoy!
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.